So, I made a video about the worst chess scene in anime, and it was from an anime called Classroom of the Elite. So I got a lot of comments. People were suggesting other anime for me to have a look at, and I love that. One of them was Secrets of the Silent Witch, which I'm watching right now. But the thing I got suggested most, Code Geass, and I remember it being super stupid. And that was the thing that was most commented, for sure. Absolutely. Not a single other thing was commented. That would just be crazy. Today we're covering Code Geass, an anime about a rebellion and the British Empire in the future with mech suits. Now we're gonna do it a little bit out of order, because the first chess scene is actually the best one, and I want to start at the dumbest. This is Season 2, Episode 9, A Bride in the Vermilion Forbidden City. He's a super genius, he's also a terrorist, and he'll play chess against the Crown Prince. That's what terrorists do. Against Prince Schneisel, who is very British with a very British name, Schneisel.
Would you care for a game of chess?
Chess?
Now, this would be the equivalent if Donald Trump started playing chess with the head of Al-Qaeda.
What a fine evening of entertainment this has turned.
No, it isn't. You should be scared that you'll get blown up. You're going to die. Anyway, we start the game in this position. Alright, so an entire game has already been played, but we can see the board pretty clearly. This is the current board position. And evaluating this position is actually really simple. There's only one thing that really matters, and that is that white has an extra pawn. That's all you need to know.
He's playing a terrorist. Something could happen, sir.
Yes, so why is the Crown Prince in there? From this position, and I'm thinking that it was some sort of animation error, where rather than the move bishop back to e8, the animators just put another bishop there, which is the only explanation that I can come up with how this makes any sense. So where in the previous anime, one character cheated by making multiple moves in a row for the same side, now we straight up have a character conjuring pieces into place.
He is good. His Highness is losing.
What? Really? You think he's losing after he conjured a piece out of thin air? What's stopping him from just summoning 3 queens in here and saying checkmate?
I didn't expect you to turn the tables on me so quickly.
I can imagine. Yeah, you were up a full piece.
And still is a master of this game.
Remember that line? He's a master, guys.
If the king doesn't lead, how can he expect his subordinates to follow?
Impressive strategy. In fact, I'll do the same.
Lelouch, the terrorist, supports the bomb cloud, everyone. Shock! They moved their king in an endgame. Oh, and we see the board again. So we go from this wonderful position over here. And when we see the board again, Black has seemingly lost all their pawns. And lost their extra bishop. Now that one I understand. The opponent probably ate it. Because that's seemingly how they think chess works. So the king walks up to c6. King b4. And king b6 was played.
I'm on the edge of my seat wondering who will win this now.
I like it when animators just clearly are so in tune with the scene. This is a man who's on the edge of his seat out of excitement. He looks so bored.
Stubborn competition, practically a fight.
What are you talking about? It's over. The game is over. You know what White's winning plan is? This.
We'll get into a threefold repetition at this rate.
What are you on about? Threefold repetition means a draw. If we reach a position like this, where we've now repeated 3 times, that's a draw. I don't know why White here would ever say, at this rate, the game will end in a draw. You're winning. I have never seen a position this winning. Just bludgeon your opponent to death. It is not that difficult. A blind toddler could win this game by accidentally moving the pieces forward.
It wasn't my intention, but shall we declare this a draw?
That is the bluff of the century. Let's just call it a draw and head back home.
I think not. You would do well not to underestimate the White King, my friend.
You wouldn't.
Checkmate.
I'm going to cry. So we get this position. By the way, magically somehow Black gets an extra pawn. But of course, like, more importantly, White decides to play the fantastic move, King b5. And then says check So this kin can now be captured by 1, 2, 3 pieces. Not even speaking of the fact that this is just not a legal move. Checkmate, you idiot.
I can't allow this. This humiliation.
And then the game ends. Someone attacked the terrorist with a knife. In the anime, it's phrased as this, oh, it's like a betrayal from a former friend. I would also attack both players if I saw this being done. In Season 1, Episode 14, Geass versus Geass. Oh, here we see a chessboard. Ooh, we get a board position. So what is going on over here? Something you might notice, the pawn structure with the pawns like this. Very similar to this game. I think the authors just really like this. I don't know why. First of all, black has a material advantage, right? 1 point of material extra. White has 2 minor pieces. Black has 3. But white has 2 extra pawns. Now that might tell you that black ought to be winning. However, you need to keep other things in mind in the position as well. Currently, this knight is under attack. If we move the knight away, let's say knight back to e8. Now we surrender control over this square. And here white just has a crushing move with queen e4 check. And it doesn't matter what you do, you just play bishop g2. And one important dynamic in chess, whenever one side has a polar bishop that the other does not. Now, I don't mean color of the piece, because of course I have white pieces and they have black pieces. I mean the color of the square that the bishop stands on. So this bishop stands on dark squares, this bishop stands on light squares. Now, usually when one side has a bishop that the other side does not have, then those squares are liable to some sort of attack, especially in this case, because all the pawns here on the kin side are on dark squares. If the pawns were, let's say, back on b7, this would be easier to defend against. But right now, because this diagonal's open, there is actually multiple points that the queen can give a check in from. Now, the computer just evaluates a forced mate in 14. I will say that you can just sort of see how open the black kin is and call it from there. Lelouch is supposed to be like this really good chess player. They introduced his character by showing him winning an impossible position or whatnot. What will get revealed later is that his opponent is a mind reader.
Boy.
Now, as you can see, which move was played was knight takes pawn. If nothing else, this just hands a piece to do bishop takes e5.
Shouldn't you be thinking about the game a bit more? You could lose.
Now, something I find really funny about this, he hasn't played the game before. And he's now telling us about you need to think about the game so that way I can read your thoughts and win. However, if I were to play a game against myself, the position wouldn't reach +8. Because that means that Lelouch always makes a move and then knows the refutation of his own moves immediately. But what a strong chess player would do is if they see the refutation of their move, they wouldn't play that move. And then finally, we reach Season 1, Episode 1. The day a new demon was born. And as you can see, this nobleman over here is playing against this elderly man.
And 51 others.
You're out of time. From here on, you'll make your moves every 20 seconds.
So that's not how chess works. If you run out of time, you just lose.
Very well, I'm game.
These aren't what the rules are. Ah, whatever.
Did your substitute arrive?
Oh, thank heaven I'm saved.
The not yet terrorist substitutes in the game. So the game they showed had this position over here. And it's actually from a game played by Robert James Fisher. Now, I've seen multiple people on the internet talk about the fact that this position was from this game. However, I've never seen anyone actually go through the game. So we're gonna do that right now. And I'll try to keep it lighthearted and fun. Openings are always concerned about developing all your pieces, getting your king castled to safety, and controlling the center of the board. So most chess games, as you can see over here on the Masters database, will start with one of the central pawns, because they immediately control the center. Now, there's nothing wrong with g4. In fact, it's a really good opening, but we're controlling the center with one of our flank pawns. Now, what black does, pawn to g6, is even more weird. This move does nothing to control the center, but this is what we call a hyper-modern opening. Essentially, what we're trying to do is we're trying to delay putting a pawn directly into the center. and pawn to e5. Now this move might look a bit weird because we are kind of blocking our bishop. So before this move, the bishop could see all the way to c3. And now we put our pawn in the way and it can see less far. However, like I said, the opening is a battle for central control. Currently, we cannot put this pawn in the center. They have 2 attackers and only 1 defender. So we have to do something else. And we have 2 main options, pawn to e5 or pawn to c5. Both are excellent options. Pawn to c5, however, as you can see, gets super symmetrical. In fact, this opening is even called the ultra symmetrical variation. To d6. Now we could continue by developing our knights out. However, we don't really know yet where these knights want to go because we know we're not gonna play d5. This is the more flexible move. This move looks a bit strange because if I play a move like d3 here, this bishop can immediately deploy itself outside of the pawn chain. But after the move e3, it seems like it's gonna be stuck here forever. That being said, because black can't immediately play e4, this move actually helps us build towards the center. And here pawn to c6. Now this move is a little bit weird because it looks like we're depriving our knight of a natural development square, which is absolutely correct. However, this move does 2 things. First of all, this knight has less forward mobility. Second of all, in this position we have a hard time developing our light square bishop out because that would simply hand the pawn on b7 and even potentially trapping the rook. White continues with the natural plan, putting a pawn on d4. Taken, never really a good idea. We surrendered the center and we also allowed this bishop to move out. So instead we put the rook on e8. Very sinisterly, we're supporting the e4 square. Essentially what Fischer here is doing, he's identifying that his main form of advantage lies in the bishop being locked out and in potentially grabbing space on the king side. Now a very tempting move would be something like pawn to e4, and this allows us to develop the dark square bishop and then keep an advantage in space in the center. Instead here white plays the move rook b1. We want to expand on the queen side, that's where we have the most space. It's unclear where else this bishop would even develop. If we go to g4, it feels kind of misplaced here. It can also very quickly get attacked. If we put it on d7, we're just blocking our knight's development. On e6, we're just blocking the rook. So this is kind of the only square it could go to. So white here played the move knight f4. This looks like a pretty strong defensive piece. We continue developing. White continues grabbing space on the queen side. And something you might probably notice over here, this bishop is still not really playing. Knight f8. We're actually not going to e6 and trade in over here. What we're actually trying to do is we're trying to bring the knight into g5. It will help the king side attack. And here you have a decision. What do you do? If you want to turn this into an exercise, maybe try and figure it out. I will give you the answer right now. We want to lock the position. We're attacking on the king side, and any attack on the flank is stronger when the center is locked. Because if you try and attack with your pawns and white gets to open the center, all you've managed to do is weaken your own king. But with the center locked like this, you're not gonna open the position up, so now black can start shocking their pawns to their heart's content. It has its downside. White is gonna try playing on the queen side, and that also becomes more effective with the closed center. That being said, you really didn't have a great alternative. Ignoring it might be fine, but taking would be horrible. White simply gets to take back, and now this pawn here on b7 is just a weakness. The moment we play a move like queen d7, white gets probably to play something like a5. Now this pawn can never be pushed forward, and we can just pile up on it. So we play d5. A rook is very often a good defender on the second rank. It's also preparing to maybe double or even triple up on a file that's very likely to open. Queen to d7 connects the rooks, forms this battery, so we have to add a defender. And now bishop h6. The bishop wasn't really doing much over here, and like I said, this knight is a very useful defender for white, so we are sort of preparing a future where this bishop gets to trade over here. And here black finds a beautiful move, bishop to g4. This is just a very clean sacrifice. It gets accepted in the game. It comes with gain of time, and if the queen moves away, we immediately get a piece in on f3. Takes. This is just dead loss. And the reason why this works, we have locked the center, and because we have more space on the king side, white has a really hard time transferring pieces to the defense of the king. That's another reason why flank attacks work best when the center is locked. So even though we are giving up a full piece, we actually still have more pieces playing on our king side attack than white has defenders. And something else we gain is an open line. And here Fischer demonstrates a very important concept when you're attacking in chess, and that is that he's going to remove all of the defenders. You may notice this king actually has nowhere to go, so we are compelled to take, and now we get to take back, and suddenly we've opened this line up and our queen can try and transfer in. The king tries to run away, we chop over here. You have to take with your e-pawn. We chuck the piece. Now at least the H file is temporarily clocked up, so white has a bit more time to orchestrate the defense. Now this check is given. Here Fischer shows why he's a grandmaster. He doesn't go backwards, but Fischer just sees everything. Pawn g5 just blocks the diagonal, and the attack is unstoppable. Queen goes into h3 with threatening mate in 1. Knight e3 just in time to defend. And here we reach the position where Lelouch makes it in.
What's your name?
Lelouch. Lamperouge.
Whoa, now wait a minute. You can't win this one. It's impossible, right?
No, it's not. No, it's mate in 4, actually.
You only have 20 seconds per move.
Enough time.
You start with the king.
Why is he laughing? So yeah, he makes a huge mockery of Lelouch moving the king, but it's the correct move. Essentially, you can't prevent the rook from coming here, and it's just checkmate. And as you can see in the real game, white just resigned here after king g6. So yeah, a ridiculous display of overconfidence by the white player. And also, I don't quite understand why the protagonist was smart here. The old man got into this position, and then the kid just played checkmate. Nice that you found it, but like the other guy really deserves the recognition.
I love playing against the nobility. When they lose, they always pay out of pride. By the way...
So yeah, that was Code Geass. That would be all. If you like this video, YouTube thinks you'll like this one. I worked hard on it. Maybe give it a watch. And I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.